Hey everybody, how's it going? So I am back with another vinyl finds video, and I know every video I make, I'm like, I am cutting down in my vinyl purchases. I'm not going to be going crazy. I'm not going to be buying a bunch of records this year. I got to tone it down. And then what ends up happening, I have a stack of records from the record stores that I visited.
What did I tell you? You don't buy anything, you hear me? Don't buy anything. I'm sorry.
Maybe I'll do better next month. All right, first thing I want to show is I found this just kind of browsing through the bins. I didn't even know that he released anything new, and I don't know if this is new or if these are songs that appeared on soundtracks or other compilations, but it's called Everybody's Gotta Learn Sometime, which I know that is a soundtrack song, and I don't know if it's an original composition or not, but he does a cover of Can't Help Falling in Love, the Elvis song. He does a cover of I Only Have Eyes for You, which he does an amazingly faithful rendition of that. He's got a lot of echo on his voice, but to hear Beck crooning like an old late 50s doo-wop song is really kind of surreal, but I like it a lot. He's got a lot of different, there's I think about 8 songs on here, so it might technically be an EP, but some great stuff on here. I love Beck. I wish they would reissue more of his catalog, but we will wait and see. And this one, I wasn't even sure really where to file this. Do I file it under Beatles? Do I file it under John Lennon? I ended up filing it under John Lennon, but this is a bootleg. It's kind of a notorious bootleg from 1974 during the Lost Weekend when Paul McCartney came to visit and party with John. They went into the studio. I think they were producing Harry Nilsson's Pussycats album, if I'm not mistaken, because you got Harry Nilsson on here, Stevie Wonder. Who else you got on here? Jesse Ed Davis, who of course was a guitarist on some of John Lennon's recordings. Bobby Keys, who played saxophone for the Rolling Stones. And it's really kind of a drunken, coked up session. I wouldn't say if you're getting all excited, like, ooh, John Lennon and Paul McCartney in the studio again, like temper your expectations. They do a rendition of Lucille and Stand By Me, a bunch of takes of that, a version of Cupid, Take This Hammer, but it's almost like the Get Back, Let It Be outtakes, where they kind of start, it breaks down, you got a lot of studio chatter. It's kind of a jumbled mess. I mean, it is cool to hear John and Paul in the studio, but this is nothing that would ever get an official release just because it's so messy. It really stands alone as a bootleg. I was shocked. I'd only ever seen this online. I'd never seen a physical copy of this. This is some sort of reissue that they must have done relatively recently, but glad to have a physical copy of that. And, you know, Duran Duran, I'm a big fan, but there's that middle period, like late 90s to early 2000s, where I just kind of stopped buying Duran Duran. Not that familiar with the records in their catalog during this period, but I'm trying to fix that and start picking up some of those records. Starting with this one, which I found in my record store. This is All You Need Is Now, produced by Mick Ronson, and I wasn't sure, honestly, what to expect. This was kind of the second of the reunion albums, although I think Andy Taylor had dropped out at this point. So you just have 4 of the original 5 members on here. And this followed Astronaut, which did have the 5 original Duran Duran members. And I don't know, honestly, I just bought this, so I haven't looked if Andy Taylor is on here, but for some reason I think he's not. But either way, it's still kind of cool to have the original Duran Duran lineup, and it sounds pretty faithful to the original. Like when I say original, I mean like those first 3 Duran Duran albums from the debut up through 7 and the Ragged Tiger. It's got that feel to it, a little bit more modern. But I was worried, you know, at this stage they were going more into contemporary pop, which they're not. Really happy with this one. So going to be expanding more of my Duran Duran. And I've been building my Whitesnake collection, and I went into one of my record stores that I frequent around here, and somebody had just unloaded their entire Whitesnake collection. And I'm like, I can't believe this. These are exactly the ones that I've been looking for. This one is Love Hunter with the provocative cover. And I like these because they've got members of Deep Purple on here. Come and Get It, which is a great record. This might be my favorite out of the three that I picked up. And these were all in great shape, by the way. This one is still in the shrink. This is Saints and Sinners. So now I think there's like an album called Northwind. There might be another early one. And then, believe it or not, I don't have the self-titled Whitesnake album or Slip of the Tongue. I don't have either of those. So I think there's about 3 or 4 of kind of that 70s, 80s Whitesnake that I don't have yet, but still on the lookout. Kraftwerk Autobahn. Now, I did have the repress of this, which had a very different cover, more of a very basic, generic kind of a cover. And I found this sleeve is an amazing shape. I believe this is from the 70s. The pressing, I know the album obviously is from 1974. And very infrequently will you see a picture of Kraftwerk where they look like dirty hippies, but this is kind of one of the exceptions. Like their first 3 records, they had long hair. They were kind of not so much electronic, more kind of experimental kind of stuff, but this was their first true, like, groundbreaking electronic album. You've got Autobahn, which takes up the entire first side. And then you've got 4 tracks on side 2, which also kind of are in that very early electronic synth pop sort of style. But can't believe, and this was really cheap. I think I picked this up for like $16, and it's in great shape. So I don't know the record owner if he didn't realize what a treasure this is, but glad that I found it. And got this Tommy James and the Shondells record, Crimson and Clover, which I'd never seen in the wild before. And I have the Hanky Panky album, so I'm starting to build my Tommy James collection. This has, obviously, Crimson and Clover on it, but also has Crystal Blue Persuasion. And I haven't heard anything else off of here. I haven't spun it yet, but I do like Tommy James a lot, so... I was really pleased to find this, and this is also in really good shape. Now, the next artist, their records are very difficult to find, and they're very expensive, at least in my experience, if I'm trying to find any of them online. But I did see a bunch of them in one of my local record stores, and they must have just, I don't know if they got a recent reissue or if this record store owner just happened to get some sort of a collection where these were all a part of. But anyway, these were all brand new when I got them. And they're all by the band Siouxsie and the Banshees. This is the first one. It's called The Scream, their debut album. And I'd had on CD, I'd never had any vinyl. I had the Peekaboo 12-inch, but I never had any Siouxsie and the Banshees on vinyl. I just had Once Upon a Time, which is a singles collection on CD, and Twice Upon a Time, which is also a CD collection. So to find these, I was super excited about. This is, I think, their 3rd album, Kaleidoscope, which sort of like that blend of synth pop and goth music, which is right up my alley. This is A Kiss in the Dream House, which is great, mid-80s. Still some goth, but like if you like The Cure, Joy Division, Echo and the Bunnymen, Sisters of Mercy. This is definitely in that style.
This is the happy house. We're happy here in the happy house. Oh, it's fun. Whoa!
Tinderbox, which is another great one. I think this was 86, if I'm not mistaken. Love that cover. And then I got Juju, which is an incredible record. This is a music on vinyl pressing, but happy to pick all these up. I never heard the studio albums because they just weren't available, and I never checked them out on Spotify, but very happy with the music on those, and I'll be looking for more as well because they do have an extensive discography. This one I know is a gimmick, but I saw it and I'm like, I'm going to buy it because I love this album so much. And, you know, it's a cool piece of vinyl to own. It's a record store day release. And this was the Rolling Stones, their Satanic Majesty's Request. This is a Zoetrope pressing where you put it on the turntable and you spin it. And I'm sure most of you who were out on the most recent record store day probably saw this. And we're like me, like I don't get into picture discs or kind of gimmick vinyl so much, but like I say, I do love this album, and so I'm like, it's kind of a nice keepsake. I haven't opened it yet or tried it. I did see a video on YouTube where they showed the effect, and it is pretty cool, but there are people who definitely do not care for this, feel like it's kind of a garbage, vanity, psychedelic project, but I'm probably in the minority when I say I do love this, so I've got like 3 or 4 copies of this record now, and I'm not going to apologize.
What'd you say? Are you being a fucking wise guy with me?
The next two, I think, can technically be classified as Django Pop. I believe they were both IRS art, and well, maybe not IRS artists, but they were both part of that Athens, Georgia kind of college rock scene in the 80s, like REM. But I finally completed my Guadalcanal Diary collection. This is their first album, their debut, Walking in the Shadow of the Big Man. They only had 4 studio albums. They kind of broke up in the late 80s. And I think there was a live album that they released. There's been some reunions, but they never put out any more studio albums. But this is their debut. Very difficult to find, but it seems like it got a repress, which I was happy to find and grab. And yeah, it's like the early, kind of like the early REM sound from, I would say, Murmur and Reckoning. If you like those albums, you would dig that, as well as the debut from the Hoodoo Gurus. This is called Stone Age Romeos, and I only have one other Hoodoo Gurus album, Mars Needs Guitars, and so when I heard this, I saw this, I'm like, I'm going to grab it as a kind of a blind buy, if that's really a blind buy. I'd heard them before, so I didn't think I was going to be disappointed. And yeah, this is a great album. I might even like it a little bit better, but yeah, very cool. Let's All Turn On. I Was a Kamikaze Pilot. I Want You Back, Death Ship, all great tracks. Never heard this one before, but when I listened to it, very happy that I did, and I'll be on the lookout for more records by them. So anyway, that is my recent haul. Nothing too ground shaking or groundbreaking, but anyway, thought I'd throw in a video here for the weekend. Hope you're doing great, and take care.
Sorry.